Most of the classic managers were recognizable more for the gimmick they used than for the men they managed. There were canes, there were megaphones, and the next man that you voted for on the countdown of wrestling's most awesome managers had his, in hindsight, comically large, mobile phone. Number 3, you guessed it, Paulie.
Awesome.
All right, I put him in there.
Ooh, as a manager? Huh. God, I'm going to have to say, yeah, as a manager up there too, yeah.
I hate to say anything good about that man. Anything at all. But I did steal a couple lines from him back in the day for interview purposes and promo purposes, because he could talk. He could talk a good game. I hate him so much. I hate to put him over in any way. But, yeah, he knew his shit as a manager. He just sucked as a boss.
Paulie Dangerously, I've known since he was a kid because he used to shoot pictures for the wrestling magazines and send them. So he was a loudmouth back then. And he was very creative back then because if you saw a photograph that we were all taking by ringside, he pushed us out of the way and he would try and get the shot.
Paulie, yeah. His lip service. He never could bump. Never really could bump, you know what I mean? But he could cut a promo and get his point over.
Paul E's intelligence and creativity surprises me that he's not up even higher.
Without Paul E leaving the AWA and taking the Midnight Express to the NWA, Diamond Dallas Page never happens. Because I had just sent my tape to the AWA. And they called me up and they said, we want you and your boys to come in. I'd sent a tape of 3 guys who wanted to be wrestlers. They weren't. They wanted to be. I'd created storylines. I had an announcer. I had everything. Sent it to the AWA. They called me up. They said, we want to bring you guys in for a tryout. We have one question though. No, I've taken your tape around. No one knows you. Where are you guys working? Well, they can't wrestle. What? What'd you send it in for? Well, they want to be. It's like a secret society. It was like, don't call us, we'll call you. That next week, Paul E. Dangerously leaves with the Midnight Express and goes to the NWA. Big hole open for a young guy who's got a big mouth.
You know, it's funny. No. I laugh because so many people in wrestling don't even realize that a lifetime ago, Paul Heyman, also known as Paulie Dangerously, was one of the most over or most despised managers in wrestling. He did a lot of talking. Once again, a guy who carried that persona as a manager into being an on-air talent, a commentator, and then running a company. When Paulie talked to you, he could make you feel any way he wanted to make you feel. He can make you feel so high about yourself. He can make you feel so low. He can make you love him. He can make you hate him. He took those qualities, and those are based on Paulie Dangerously as the manager. And also the ridiculous cell phone, which was the first non-tennis racket or powder weapon that was used by a manager.
Yeah, but to me, there's managers that take bumps. There's managers that like you meant the manager thing is they're asking for something different. But I mean, you had your Grand Wizards and your Lou Albanos and your Freddie Blassies, and those guys pretty much they did your talking because your heels didn't talk then, and you know what I mean. Your managers did your talking, you know what I mean. And then the managers had were starting to take bumps and stuff like that, you know what I mean. So I think maybe this list would be more to me if you had like a pre-1980 and a post-1980, you know what I mean?
I think Paulie was good. I think sometimes Paulie would put heat on him rather than his talent.
Yeah. I mean, look at the stable he had. He managed Arn. He managed Beautiful Bobby, one of my favorite wrestlers. He managed Rick Rude, Steve Austin, Medusa. He had a hell of a stable.
Honestly, Paulie got people over that was weak on the mic. He got them over. That's why you have managers and valets. That's when you weak. Paulie is a mouthpiece. You understand? And Paulie can cut promos and have you believing that you are green. And if you don't look in the mirror, you walk around all day saying, am I really green? Because he's so convincing in what he says. And he puts so much emotion and so much feeling into it. You know what I'm saying? So in order for him to manage somebody, they were lacking in that area. And he was there to make up for where they couldn't talk on the mic. And I give him credit where it was due. He knocked that boy upside the head with that damn phone that time, that little kid.
Paulie and the phone gimmick was tremendous. I mean, and he definitely revolutionized it from, the big monstrosity, carry your cell phone in a suitcase type gimmick, to a time where I saw Paulie on an ECW show in Yonkers, New York, at a racetrack. And I maybe he forgot his phone that day, but he just brought the receiver of a rotary phone. Not a cell phone. A fucking rotary phone. No antenna. And he's talking into it. And you know how ECW fans are. They're brutal. They'll shit on you in the blink of an eye. They're looking to give you a reason to fucking shit on you. And they're just, Paulie's and they're going with it. He's like, yeah, Mom, I'm trying to call you back, blah, 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 blah. A fucking rotary phone. And the thing isn't even, the cord's not even plugged into the bottom of the phone.
I've said so many times, like, fuck Paulie, and I hate Paulie. And I just say that because people think this shit's a shoot. It's like the Ultimate Warrior thing. Like when I challenged Warrior to shoot fight. That whole thing. It's just like, nobody knows how much fucking absolute enjoyment I got when I watched a day and a half later his edited, rebuttaled, that he spent 2 fucking days of his life responding to one fucking tweet that I put out. I'm just like, that makes my life. And if you say fucking Paulie fucking sucks, if you thought the Sheet guys hated you a week ago, now you're fucking, you're Hitler in the synagogue. You're like, fucking, you're the worst fucking thing on the planet. So why do you say it? You say it for a fucking reaction. The guy's obviously brilliant.
Unfortunately, I got to spend very little time with Paulie. I really wish I would have had the opportunity to have more. As a matter of fact, I don't think I ever personally spent any time with Paul Heyman. Most of the time I spent when I was on the phone, and I wish I would have got to work with him.
Paul never did anything to bullshit me. Paul made me believe in myself. Paul made the fans believe that he was Paulie Dangerously, which, it's a lost art not only in managerial gimmicks, but also wrestling gimmicks, where basically Paul E. Dangerously was an extension of Paul Heyman. Rich kid from Scarsdale, New York. His father was a lawyer. They really took the real elements of his life and made it into his character and multiplied it by 10.
Character, man. That long hair, bald spot, Yankee hat. Any New Yorker had to love Paulie. Is it going to get hot if I say bald? I think everybody pretty much knows.
Wow, there's so many good managers, but he's one of the best talkers. Him and Cornette pretty much had a mirror career when you think about it. They both, broken as photographers for their respective organizations. They both were broken by their promotions at the various levels, given, and then they both became managers, and they both ran 2 great organizations.
It seemed like there was a lot of Cornette influence in there, a lot of Albano, Grand Wizard. Grand Wizardish in the fact that nobody got their hands on Paul very often, did they?
Yeah, he could just ad-lib anything. That's one thing I've always prided myself into. I've never rehearsed anything. I never had scripts. Basically, it was, Vince and Jim Ross, because they were always running gorilla position. They'd give me a microphone and say, you have 7 minutes, go. Nothing was planned, and I would just go out there and just roll with it, but nowadays, everybody gets a script for their interviews, in-ring interviews when they're there. Everyone, even John Cena, they don't let anybody go out there with a microphone, but they trusted me enough back then to just let me roll with it. Like the whole slopping angle, when I got slopped, for the first, for the first 10 minutes of that entire thing, it was my promo. all of that was right off the top of my head when I was out there. When I was crying to Phineas, and then I slapped him, and then I heeled on him, and then we did the whole run around the ring. It was completely off the cuff. Yeah. But who are we talking about again? Oh, Paulie. See? He's so forgetful. But no, he could do that too. And, I did enjoy watching his interviews and stuff when he was a manager because he could do that. But otherwise, I hate him.
I guess he gets put up there because of the other things besides the managing, huh? Because some people, if he squatted down and took a shit in the ring, they'd think it was fucking greatest thing in the world.
But we're talking then again, we're talking about manager now. So let's take the creativity part out of this and look at him as the manager of like the Dangerous Alliance, etc., and with the telephone, etc. He was terrific. He made people want to come in and hate him and whoever he managed. So he was great.
I think Paul, as a manager, maybe he's number 3. I don't know if he's in that spot. As a creative guy, as a personality of the ECW, he might be up at our number 2 in that world, the impact he had.